Welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick, with the City of Hampton's Communications and Marketing Department. And today we're going to talk to some ladies from Delta Sigma Theta who have a special impact program for the community. Welcome.
Thank you.
And let me introduce you to the people at home, Lorraine Press and Cheryl Griffin. And tell us a little bit about your sorority first. I see the red, the matching shirts. You guys are very active, and I've seen the red shirts around pretty frequently. So,
well, we are a sorority, a public service sorority of about 300,000 total.
Very, very strong. Okay.
We have in our chapter, in our local chapter, we have 242 that are in our chapter.
And how big is the chapter? Is that Hampton Newport News? Is that all Hampton? Just Hampton?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. We have many programs that we do around the city. We have the Adopt a Spot. We have Help, where we go to social service department and help them one evening a month. We have nurses that come in and do a triage, and we have some of the sorors who come in and help with the phones.
Wow. So, I think people forget, you know, about the work that some of the service organizations do, and particularly the sororities. I mean, you guys are tremendously active. How long have you been involved in the community service with your sorority?
This will be my 40th year.
Right. And my 41st year.
And how did you guys meet? This is a good story.
We met in college. Actually, I played Cheryl, so I was her big sister, and with many, many others online. But again, it's basically public service. Most people think it's social, but it's not.
It is, and I think that's, you know, not to be stereotypical, but a little bit of a difference between the traditional sororities at white colleges versus the traditionally black colleges is that huge factor of involvement in the community and service, and that it continues, you know, after you graduate.
Right. When we leave, we are supposed to go out into the community. We're supposed to join the alumni chapters and continue what we started when we were in college.
And obviously you guys both did, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, to be eligible to join, you got to show public service.
It's a lifetime commitment.
And I appreciate so much what both of you done. And you're both retired now? Oh no, you're retired once.
Yes.
And your background is?
Parks and Recreation, Leisure Services.
All right. And yours is a little bit similar, right?
Yes.
Activity.
I'm physical education.
And you taught, where did you teach?
I first started at Lindsay Junior High School. That's how far back that was. And then I left the area, came back, taught autistic students adaptive physical education. Oh. And when I retired, I was in elementary school physical education at Aberdeen Elementary.
All right. So, but mainly, I know I've taken a lot of time with your backgrounds, but you guys are here today to talk about impact. What does that mean?
Yes. Our Impact Day actually was envisioned by our national president, encouraging all chapters, undergraduate and graduate, to have a very active role in their local communities. We have a lot of things we do nationally, but we want to have an impact locally on advocating for community change and involvement. And our local chapter selected a topic that was near and dear to Hampton. So in 2011, we started our first Impact Day, and what we called it was Voices in the Village, meaning we wanted to hear from people who were affected by certain things that were happening in the community, and we selected youth violence. And so we have been on that on our third year. This year we are going to have a much larger attendance, we hope, than even last year. Last year we had about 300. This year we'll again be at the Hampton Teen Center. Okay. We'll be there on Saturday, March 9th, and we are partnering to do this. So we're working also with Hampton Human Services, the Hampton Commonwealth Attorney's Office, as well as the Sheriff's Department and Parks and Recreation. It seems because of the importance of the topic, more and more people are coming on board. Even the school system has assisted us.
So what actually happens at the event? What will people go there and find or learn or do?
Okay. Well, the event during the day starts at 12 noon, goes into 3. I guess you could look at it in 3 parts. We have like a general session where we will talk about that topic, the importance of the purpose of the day. We have a keynote speaker this year. Our main speaker during the first part of the program will be Judge Bunny Jones.
Oh, okay.
And then we have some entertainment by local youth that will also be on that program. We will break out into workshop sessions that will address some concerns for youth and for adults. So we have many adults that also attend who are very concerned about this subject. And then the third part of the day, after we have booths and display booths by youth serving agencies so that they can give us some alternatives to violence in our community. And then the very last part of that day, we will again reinforce the importance of anti-violence behavior, and we will have a keynote speaker there, a gentleman by the name of Mike Lee, who was from this area, who actually was injured by gunfire at the age of 13.
Oh, wow.
And is now having some residual effects from that, and appears to be going blind because of it. Is coming back to talk to our youth about violence. And then the last thing we will have is a tribute to the fallen youth from Hampton.
Wow. That's a big day. And so, I mean, I think you've got a variety of audiences here, certainly adults who are afraid of, growing youth violence, and that so many crimes are committed by young people and really don't know what to do or how they can do anything.
Right, and that's why we want to include the parents in this. It's geared towards teens, and we'll take younger if mom wants to bring or dad wants to bring. We will take.
Because sometimes you have to almost intervene before they get to that teenage stage. It may be too late.
And that's why we want to help school the adults on what's going on and how they can help and how they can prevent.
So you're talking mostly to parents and teens, but you might find maybe some adults who want to volunteer and have no idea what they can do or how they can make an impact.
Correct.
Yes, exactly.
So why youth violence? What made, if the national chapter had this idea, but everybody gets to pick their own topic, what about this topic spoke to you?
Well, when we started out on this, we had a committee, of course, trying to look at
always a
what
committee.
the local concerns are, and because our members
There's
are
so
professional
many concerns,
professional members, we looked at some of the information that we were getting from United Way, from social service agencies, and we recognized then that there was a growing tendency toward violence, and we also, you couldn't miss the number of young people who actually died over the weekend because of something that happened. So that's really what got us involved in it. The first year we had a panel of parents who had lost their children.
Oh, I bet that was just incredibly touching. I can't even imagine.
There wasn't a dry eye in the house when they finished.
And last year we heard from families and children who had lost brothers, sisters. So.
How people react to that kind of loss. I remember interviewing somebody who lost a very close, I believe it was an uncle or a cousin, to gun violence. And he was able to turn it around and went back to work with youth and, was singing and writing poetry and things like that. But then other people just become angry and continue that cycle of violence. And so how do you help intervene and change people's lives and their path?
Right. Well, part of it is understanding what you're seeing as violence begin to take root and grow. We have learned a lot just from the past few years that by listening to parents who were involved, or listening to young people also who are telling us what the things that are happening to them in school. So this also gives us an opportunity to listen to those young people in a non-school setting, tell us what they are afraid of, and this has been very much a learning opportunity for us.
So you really get the chance to interact with kids on a more one-on-one basis. And I think sometimes, they're a little bit afraid to talk to their parents or their teachers. and maybe you guys being out in the community are partly additional and partly a new face, but maybe a little safer too.
I want to add that it is also, we are very, very fortunate to have Hampton Human Services and the Youth and Families Program recognize the importance of this and giving us a place to do this at the Teen Center because it's quite appropriate.
It's a great place.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
And we have teens on our advisory and planning group who attended last year. They came and said, I want to be a part of this year. We also have Kecoughtan's Friends of Rachel that were there last year, and we'll be recruiting and trying to show other groups of young people how to form their own clubs against violence.
And isn't that so important? Because there's only so much that as adults, you know, teens don't always give us the credibility that we deserve for our years of experience. They, you know, but that peer networking and working one-on-one with the people they see every day and hang out with in a shared, you know, more common stage of life, that can be really effective.
Right, so much so.
Great. Okay, so tell us just one more time, recap for us, where and when.
Okay. The Voices in the Village 3 is Stop the Violence.
Stop the Violence.
Will be held on Saturday, March 9th from 12 noon until 3 at the Hampton Teen Center. That's 300 Butler Farm Road.
Great. And thank you so much for coming by and for all the good works you do in the community. I know your sorority is wonderfully active, and we're lucky to have such a large and involved group in Hampton.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I hope some of you will bring some teenagers that you're related to and come out to Voices in the Village on March 9th. Thank you.